Hello students, my name is Bert Bambach from Avans University of Applied Science. This video contains the ISO 31000 and security management. This is part 1. There will also be a part 2 and that is more in depth. The objectives of this video are knowing why the Secure AU project chose the ISO 31000 standard, understand what the ISO 31000 entails, why security students should know about the ISO 31000, but also insight how the 31000 can be applied for security management. And at last, the relation between ISO 31000 and the Security AU project. Why did we choose the ISO 31000 standard? One of the important goals to acknowledge is that European countries are addressing the same problems in different ways, and that's fine. We don't always have to approach the problems in the same way, and this also applies for security management. More important is that we can understand why the problems are approached in a different way, and also are able to explain why we do so. To be able to do so, we need a common sense, a common framework from which we work from, and that's why we choose the ISO 31000. We do not create a new European standard, but use an internationally accepted standard, so that we can speak in the same language when it comes to risk management, as an instrument to support our security management. The ISO 31000 risk management, in definition it said, coordinated activities to direct and control an organization regarding risks. And it entails actually 3 building blocks: risk management framework, risk management principles, and risk management process. Using the framework, it can be used to establish a more robust way to make informed decisions about risk. And it is used to improve the ability to achieve the objectives despite uncertainties and challenges. That's the first part. And in the middle of it is leadership and commitment, which is very important, especially also for the security officer, to have the support from the leadership and commitment for the task he has to achieve. The second building block will be risk management principles. It tells about the value creation and protection of what is necessary for the organization. And it also establishes a more common side and more understanded way of dealing and managing with risks. The third building block, risk management process, it will identify and assess the risks using to manage it, but also helping organizations to make more informed choices. Dus not only on the feeling that something is wrong, but also using data and information that is adaptable for the organization and also being able to be more resilient in the future. Why should students who follow security know about the ISO 31000? Well, it helps you to work in a standardized way. This also makes it easier to explain how you work, not only internally in your organization, between colleagues or other departments, but also with colleagues from other departments and colleagues from other organizations. It will tell how to perform your work. If you know about the building blocks in the ISO and you want to adjust some of the indicators that are involved in them, it's easier to talk about. It makes it also easier to roll out and measure your measurements in a standard way. Besides that, it gives an unambiguous way to talk about or communicate. If you know what a building block entails, for example, commitment, then you also know which indicator you can use to achieve that. And if more people know about this way of working, it makes it easier to discuss. You know you can differ in opinion about it, but you also know that it's the same instrument that you can use. This makes it also easier to determine the desired level of work that you have to deliver, as the ISO 31000 can be your guideline. But then the question is how to apply the ISO 31000 to security management. Well, if we look at security management, in basic there is a cycle that you can use. First of all, it's about strategy. What is the strategy of my department? What do I like to achieve? How do I want to work? Then we go to the second step, analysis. What do I need to know in front to carry out the strategy? But moreover, if I do this analysis, what I find in my organization to protect this organization, is it in line with the strategy? Based on this analysis, you can make goals for your department, but also to see if the goals from your department are in line with the objectives that are necessary for your organization. Because we know security management should not stand alone. It should not work in a silo, but work together with other departments within an organization. If the goals are agreed upon, then we can look for measures. This could be measures in the physical protection, could be measures concerning personnel, it could be measures concerning cyber, but most of all, it's in line with your strategy, in line with your analysis, in line with the goals agreed upon, and then, if the measures should take place, it should be assured. So, the cycle will be fulfilled. To make this circle work, you can use the ISO 31000. First of all, it's about leadership and commitment. Measures to be taken should be taken on also with your leadership, because mostly leadership is accountable for this department. You are responsible as a security manager, but for example, a CFO could be the one who's accountable. Then we can look at the risk management principles, value, creation and protection. Depending on the context, for example, you want to create more security awareness, you could use human and cultural factors as a starting point. And from there on, you will go to the risk management process to look and record reporting for the continuous process in measuring, do I still what I promised to do from the strategy, according to the analysis I made, with the goals I want to achieve and also the measures that I take. Putting the ISO 31000 together with the security management, then we come to security risk management, the main topic of our project, which means coordinated activities to direct and control an organization regarding security risk management. We understand that sometimes the ISO 31000 could look very massive. It's a huge process to be taken on. That's why it's important to be able to explain as a security manager, where do you start? In which part of the security management cycle? And then you look at the ISO 31000. Which of the building blocks will be your starting point? Then you have to explain, why do you start there? And then what's your approach and who will be your allies? Allies in this way means the stakeholders that are very important to support you. This could be, for example, if we talk about the human and cultural factors, the human resource department, who maybe have more substantial money to support you, or they can help you carry out policies. Because sometimes the security manager is not in charge. He is supportive to the primary process of an organization. So that's why we apply, or we want to apply, the ISO 31000 to security management. At last, what's the relation between the ISO 31000 and the Security EU project? As we look at the ISO 31000, we have the building blocks: risk management framework, risk management principles, and risk management process. All of the products that we deliver, such as digital security management vocabulary, best practice, practical tasks, video lessons, are connected to the 31000. In what way they are connected? It is as follows. For example, the definitions that come from the ISO 31000 are translated in the languages of the 6 partners that join in this project. For example, in Dutch, Latvian, Finnish, Lithuanian, Spanish, and Norwegian. Best practices, which are got up from the practicals of the security manager, are also related to the building blocks. Each best practice is assigned to one of the building blocks or to the indicators. For example, if we talk about an electric grid manager in the Netherlands, in the vital and critical structure, it will set that it's not only about analysis that they make, it's about commitment, it's about awareness, it's about best available information. These are all highlighted in the best practices. This is also the case for the practical tasks. All the parts that are used in the practical task are highlighted in the task itself. For example, the task from Latvia will highlight about awareness. Video lessons like this are also related to the ISO 31000. In my case, it's a little bit simpler because it's totally about the ISO 31000, but other colleagues will also address to it. For example, about analysis or about value creation. And at last, there's recommendations, and those recommendations will be about a body of knowledge, digital lesson materials, which can be used in lessons in the different universities by the teachers who are involved. Thank you for watching for this first part, and the second part will be more in-depth about how to apply the ISO 31000 within security management.